Hey everyone, welcome to our Feature Friday webinar series. My name is Brennan. I'm one of the co-founders at Wholesale, and today I'm going to be walking through kind of it's actually a new slide deck talking about how we kind of start using Wholesale or how we start new customers on Wholesale, and how the process we walk through with each new customer that wants to get a demo of Wholesale, just to understand what capabilities it has and how it might fit their business processes. So I'm going to go through this kind of presentation about how Wholesale works, what it does, and if you've got any questions, feel free to use the chat. I'll be looking at the chat throughout the course of this presentation, and so if you ask any questions, I'll read them aloud and I will answer them in real time. As long as I've got the answer. If I don't have the answer, I'll tell you, and I will go out and look up the answer and follow up with you after our webinar today. But hey, everyone, nice to see you. Thanks for joining our webinar. Let me start off and jump right into it. So when we have new customers joining Wholesale, we tend to see them fit one of two modes. They either have a high volume inventory lifecycle, they're like a high volume wholesaler and device reseller, or they're a lower volume device reseller. So the way that we kind of separate this is on our grow and business plans that are between 400 items that you're processing a month. This is like your business that is buying and selling 400 phones every month, or 400 of any serialized device. Or if you're a higher volume, it can stretch from 400 plus, up from 400 to 50,000 devices a month. And what we see is these businesses run a little bit differently. They kind of have the same general process that I've outlined here of receiving inventory, processing inventory, reselling the inventory, fulfilling it, getting returns, and tracking the analytics. So they both have those same basic templates, but the way that they do their processes is different, because a high volume business typically has more employees, and so there are things like user permissions, different employees in different sections of the business. They're less generalists and more specialists. You have a warehouse team, a sales team, etc. And then with a low volume process, you have more of you're probably a sole proprietor, or it's you and a couple people that are doing all of these different steps in your business. So I like to talk about these. If we're doing a demo for a customer, we try to identify what kind of business they have. And I'm just going to go over a general overview of these processes, so it kind of fits if you're in either camp. But just know, if you're looking at using Wholesale for your business, we have kind of all these features in Wholesale that fit these different parts of the process of moving through your inventory. And so we'll work with you if you're a high volume reseller. We'll work with you on the things that we know are best practices to fit your business. And if you are a low volume inventory reseller, then we'll work with you on the kind of best practices that we found that fit someone doing under 400 devices a month. Not to mean that you're any less valuable of a customer to us. We still really like working with folks that are starting small. In fact, we think that that's a great time to start using software to track inventory, because then you can start really growing with it. We see a lot of businesses that have grown really big, but they're trying to scale their business on spreadsheets, or they've already scaled their business, and things are a mess because spreadsheets are a very, very difficult scaling tool. They're fantastic at the beginning, but then you need a more full-featured piece of software as you start to grow. So regardless of which camp you're in, these are the parts of the process that I'm going to go through: receiving inventory, processing inventory, reselling inventory, fulfilling the inventory on the orders that you're selling it on. That's what's special about Wholesale, is this ability to fulfill specific IMEIs onto orders, processing returns that come from either e-commerce orders or wholesalers, and then looking at your analytics, looking at your financial analytics, your gross financials in your business to make better decisions, maybe to buy from different vendors or to buy different products that are selling better than other products, etc. So Wholesale has kind of features that fit all of these different molds, and I'm going to go through and walk through those. So the beginning steps of anytime you're using inventory software are receiving inventory, getting it into the software and into the system. And so Wholesale has purchase orders, which store all of your information about your vendor and your vendors, who you're buying the stock from. And so if you are a high volume reseller, These are probably wholesale vendors that you're purchasing from, or enterprise and ITAD companies that you're buying in bulk from. And so you can keep the information about the companies you're buying from in the purchase order, and then you add all the inventory to the purchase order. We've got a handful of different ways you can upload inventory in wholesale. So you can upload it via a spreadsheet, which is probably the most common way. You can add it in our user interface. So you don't have to leave the software to add inventory. But then you can also upload inventory, or import it from PhoneCheck. So if you are using PhoneCheck or any other diagnostic software, we have a direct integration with PhoneCheck. So you can just in the app connect your PhoneCheck account and bring in inventory from PhoneCheck. Or if you're using any of the other many different diagnostic softwares out there, you can make an export of your inventory from those pieces of software and then import it to wholesale once it's been tested and diagnostically tested in that software. So we really, that is one unique thing about wholesale is most other inventory software doesn't connect to your diagnostic software where you're testing the devices. But wholesale was really built for people that are buying and selling used devices. So we have the ability to import right from PhoneCheck, or you can upload a spreadsheet from your other diagnostic software. So that's that. And for high volume resellers, especially, one thing we see a lot is they want to upload a very basic spreadsheet from their vendor that might just have the IMEIs and the manufacturer and model, but they're going to go through their testing process either using PhoneCheck or testing manually or some other method, and then they want to upload that information later, and that's totally possible. So as you kind of learn how wholesale works and map your processes to wholesale, you have this option to upload incomplete inventory information at the beginning and then update it later in bulk by uploading spreadsheets or by importing information to update that inventory. So that's an option. So that's our receiving process. Processing is probably one of the most exciting pieces of how wholesale allows folks that are processing used inventory to update the information. So I talked a little bit about bulk updates there, but that's where wholesale really shines, is that in other systems, making bulk updates is actually quite challenging because you are making updates to many different SKUs. And often if you're changing the product, if you're changing a grade from A grade to B grade or B grade to A grade, maybe you've improved some products or you've repaired some products, so you're removing cracked glass from the definition of the product. This is a SKU change, and doing SKU changes on bulk inventory is like a huge headache in most other software because it's just not a very popular need. But for folks selling used devices, it is a very popular, very common need. For any of our customers that are repairing devices, this is something that comes up constantly in their business, is the need to make bulk changes to the product itself, to the grade, to the conditions, maybe even to the network to unlock devices. And so in wholesale, you can do that very easily by updating a bunch of devices via spreadsheet. And what wholesale does for you is in the background, it manages these SKUs. So rather than going and finding the SKU, the very specific unique SKU that you need to find to update a new device to, you can just go to a device and change the grade or change the damage conditions or change the network, as I've been kind of describing. And that will change the SKU. It'll change the product variation by just making that one small change. That'll change the SKU. And if you've got your wholesale account connected to your e-commerce channels, that SKU now, the SKU bucket that product was in, it's now moved to a different SKU, and so it can be either removed from one listing and put into the quantity count of another, or handled automatically however you have wholesale set up. So it's a hugely powerful ability that wholesale has for processing inventory. Our big e-commerce sellers and wholesalers use this all the time. The ability to, they've got teams in their warehouse that are constantly regrading devices or repairing and then retesting devices. And so those teams can just upload a spreadsheet when they're done to update thousands of items. Rather than having to go through and hunt for the different SKUs, the new SKU that they're updating, they can just say, on these 20 devices, we changed the grade from C grade to B grade. On these 50 devices, we changed they once had cracked glass. Now they don't have any cracked glass. They're fully functional. We replaced the screens. So you can do that in bulk across many devices, and it updates the SKUs automatically, which is very powerful. So that's one of the big features of wholesale. Also, you can track repair costs. So if you're repairing inventory, you can track the serialized costs of this phone got a new screen. That was $50. Maybe the part was 20, the labor was 30. You can break that out if you want to. So you have this ability to track repair costs in a serialized manner. which is huge for folks that are trying to get a better grip on their the costing, the cost basis of their inventory items. As you scale up and have more valuable inventory as well, you really want to track how much did you pay for an item in total, not just how much did you buy it from your vendor for, but you bought it from your vendor, if you repaired it, how much cost went into that device, so you know when you sell it how much you actually made, what your gross profit and gross margin really were after everything. Is it worth doing the repairs you're doing? That's something you want to be able to figure out. So that's something you can do in wholesale. We also have custom inventory fields, so you can add a custom inventory field like battery health, for example, to your inventory, and then track that across your inventory, and even import that information from phone check. So you can import a plethora of information from phone check about devices that you would never get into another traditional inventory system. That's really valuable. You can also do audits. So for our large high volume resellers, we see them doing audits in their warehouse all the time because there's so much movement of inventory. You want to have a tool that makes it very easy and clear. So our audits they could not be simpler. You're able to create an audit based on any group of inventory, and then you can scan the IMEIs or the unique IDs that wholesale provides the inventory. And as you scan the IDs with a scanner, they light up as green in the page that you're looking at for doing the audit. And so that allows you to very easily track which devices were picked out for an audit, and which devices were not available. And so you could audit the devices that are supposed to be coming from your supplier. You can audit the devices that are going out on an order, like a pick list. Basically, it's like a live interactive pick list. You can audit the items in various locations in your warehouse, et cetera, et cetera. So you have this ability to create unique audits for different groups of inventory, which can be really powerful when you are trying to figure out, do we have the stock that we think that we have? So you can answer those questions with our auditing tool. So processing is a very, very thick stack of different features that wholesale has to make a business run smoothly, and to give you the tools that you need to run kind of that central part as you're processing inventory. Again, this is an area that most inventory systems don't even have to worry about, because you're dealing typically with brand new product or product that doesn't really change SKUs that much. You might have stock adjustments where you're adjusting the quantity in those systems, but you don't have that many SKU adjustments. And so what wholesale specializes in is making SKU adjustments very simple and easy for your teams. So that's processing inventory. Now we get to selling inventory, which is an area that wholesale, when we started the product, it did not have a lot of tools for this, but it's grown to have actually quite a few tools for selling inventory. So wholesale now connects to eBay, Backmarket, Swappa, WooCommerce, Sellbrite, and ShipStation. All different e-commerce tools. Those first four or so are e-commerce marketplaces, and then Sellbrite and ShipStation are tools that allow you to get orders and quantities synced with other channels that we don't directly connect to today. But these channels, we are consistently adding more and more channels that wholesale connects to. And what these connections mean is that wholesale is managing your quantities of inventory that you have across your listings on the various channels. So if you're trying to sell on eBay, Backmarket, and Swappa, for example, at the same time, if you sell on eBay, you want to immediately be able to take down the inventory that just sold on eBay from your Swappa and Backmarket accounts, so that you don't oversell on those platforms. This becomes a huge challenge for our high volume sellers that start entering the that start entering the e-commerce world. Is that you now have to deal with these channels, that each channel has their own seller performance standards. And if you start overselling a lot and you have to cancel orders, they immediately penalize you and eventually kick you off these platforms. And so you need a tool that can keep you in sync across all the channels of what your quantity of inventory is. Wholesale is that tool. And so as you're managing and processing your inventory in wholesale, it is automatically connecting to these marketplaces and telling them what your current quantities of inventory are. And that's pretty magical. So you can do that. We have integrations that we're constantly working on, adding new ones, like I mentioned. So you'll see more from us over the next few months. You'll see we've got a couple in beta, an Amazon integration and a Walmart integration in beta. So our hope is that you see those from us very soon. And we also have this tool with ShipStation where we can bring orders into wholesale from any other channel that connects to ShipStation. So ShipStation is another piece of software for shipping inventory, or shipping orders, excuse me. And they've got a great piece of shipping software that we have an integration with. And so if you are selling on other channels that we haven't connected with, like Newegg or Wish or Rakuten or Etsy or something like that, you can bring those orders into ShipStation. It already has connections with those channels, and WholeCell can import those orders from ShipStation. And that's so that when WholeCell is syncing your quantities with the other channels that it connects directly to, it can update them based on the orders that are coming through that are counting against your available quantity. So that's a little bit confusing. Hopefully it was clear enough to give you a picture of the value that this adds. So that is our e-commerce connections for WholeCell. We also have a B2B portal on WholeCell that allows you to send your customers, you can give them a login to a B2B portal. If you're selling in bulk to specific customers, they can log in, see their previous orders, see their returns with you, see the IMEIs they've purchased from you, and place orders for your current available stock. So you can advertise your available inventory to those customers, and they can see it, they can place an order, and you can validate that order. And then again, just like our e-commerce integrations, when you get a wholesale order, you can choose whether or not that deducts immediately from your stock on your e-commerce channels. So there's just tremendous full circle capability here for WholeCell to manage the inventory that you have while your warehouse team is managing, they're adding inventory, removing inventory throughout the day. WholeCell is broadcasting these updates live on your e-commerce channels and to your B2B customers, which is really powerful. When we started building this product of WholeCell, this is the thing that was missing from this industry, was the ability to broadcast this live. Most customers we saw, or people we saw in the industry, were using Google Sheets and WhatsApp to tell their customers what inventory they had today. And that's a pretty slow and outdated system. I mean, it can be fast, but it takes a lot of manual work. And since your warehouse teams are already doing that work of managing the inventory, you might as well have them doing that in a system that updates everybody automatically. So that's the sales part of this tool. The product catalog SKU, you can manage your product catalog in WholeCell in bulk. So you can download a spreadsheet, upload it with your SKUs to manage these listings and make that simpler. You have the kind of capability, the advanced capability of connecting multiple SKUs to the same listing. This is really important for wholesalers, or should be more e-commerce sellers, excuse me, that want to sell. If they've got a listing for AT&T iPhone 10, for example, they might want to sell their AT&T iPhone 10 and their unlocked iPhone 10 on the same listing. So in WholeCell, they're keeping track of these as two different networks, AT&T and unlocked, but they want to show the quantity of both because they could technically fulfill an unlocked phone on an order for an AT&T phone. And so they might want to show both SKUs, the quantity combined of both SKUs. WholeCell lets you do that. You can connect that listing on eBay or back market of an AT&T iPhone to both your AT&T and your unlocked SKUs in WholeCell. So you have the ability to really control at a detailed level what quantities are showing for those listings. You can also do something with WholeCell that no other company provides. Even other inventory and multi-channel sync tools that say that they're serialized, they don't have this ability to show you which IMEIs contributed to every one of your syncs. So WholeCell has this ability to show you when it's syncing with eBay and it's saying, okay, this listing has a quantity of 10. Now we sold one, it's got a quantity of 9. Now we added 5 more of these products. Now it's got a quantity of 14. As WholeCell is making those updates over time, you have a log where you can see those updates, and not only can you see the quantity that was updated, you can see the IMEIs that went into those updates, the IMEIs that made the update. That okay, we added 5 phones here. That these are the 5 IMEIs that we added. That's why WholeCell told eBay or back market that we now had 14 available. These were the 14 IMEIs that were available in that update. So this helps you if you've ever got an overselling problem, especially if you've done this before as an e-commerce seller. You know that this can be one of the most frustrating experiences, is trying to track down why did we oversell on a channel. And so these serialized synchronization logs, the history of your serialized syncs, gives you the ability to say, okay, this member of my team added these 5 inventory items, or this member of my team messed up this order, and that's why we oversold on this channel, was because those 2 things were out of sync somehow. And then you can go work with your team to improve the processes and fix the connection to your channel so that you don't oversell again. So this is a much faster way for solving these issues. So all of these are features that Wholesale has in its kind of this process that sellers go through of selling inventory, and we think that they're very uniquely special compared to other inventory software that's out in the marketplace. So that's the selling inventory picture. Whoops, I went back instead of forward. Fulfilling inventory. So once you've sold inventory and you've got orders that are coming in on your sold inventory, then it's about fulfilling those orders that have imported. So when you sell on these e-commerce channels or you sell to a B2B customer, your orders are in Wholesale and you're ready to fulfill them. What Wholesale does, again, uniquely well, is it allows you to bulk fulfill the IMEIs. So your team might already, if you're already serialized, if you're a high volume team, you probably already have a process of scanning the IMEIs that are going out on your orders, but it can be a very manual process. And so Wholesale gives you this ability to scan the order transaction number and then scan the IMEIs that are going out on that order. This commits the items to the order. So you always, in your entire history, you always have a record of which IMEIs got sent to which order on which channel to which customer. So this ability to fulfill by serial number is hugely popular for our customers. They really love this ability. We have a lot of features around this fulfillment practice, and it's what most of our customers are looking for. So that third bullet here, that we see channels more and more requiring that sellers, high volume sellers, that they put the IMEI, they give the IMEI to the channel so that the channel knows, okay, Back Market now knows what IMEI was sent to the customer. And so that's being required more and more. Wholesale has integrations like this with Back Market. We have an integration where when you commit the IMEI, when your team is in the warehouse scanning the IMEIs, that IMEI automatically gets sent to Back Market. So Back Market has it. You don't have to go manually put it in there. So it saves you some time from all of these different, most e-commerce sellers we know, they live in Google Chrome with 500 tabs open. And this is a way to reduce the number of tabs that you have constantly open, and which kind of makes you more prone to making mistakes. So your ability to fulfill items in bulk with IMEIs and us to send those IMEIs to the channels is really exciting. For eBay and Swappa, both of those marketplaces let you list single item listings. And so you can connect those single item listings to an actual IMEI in Wholesale, which makes it so when you sell that order, Wholesale can auto commit that IMEI to the order and immediately take it out of your available inventory. That's a really popular feature that we've got. And then we have this ability to export your orders to ShipStation for automatic label creation as well. So like I said, Wholesale has an integration with ShipStation, and when we export your orders, you can ship the orders in ShipStation. Those tracking numbers come back from ShipStation to Wholesale, and then Wholesale sends the tracking numbers up to the channels that you sold the inventory on, or that you've got the orders from. And so those that, again, just using, in this case, Wholesale and ShipStation, you don't have to interact with the channel, especially, if it's Back Market, if you've committed the IMEI on a single item order in Wholesale, and then you've shipped it with ShipStation, Back Market gets all of those updates without you having to go to Back Market's website, which is a huge time saver for our high volume customers, the high volume e-commerce sellers that I mentioned. So that's the fulfilling inventory step. Customer returns are pretty simple. We have an RMAs tool in Wholesale that allows you to track which IMEIs are coming back from your customers. So you can create RMAs with certain channels, like Back Market is one. You can automatically import RMAs from Back Market when you provide a shipping label to a customer through the Back Market portal, and it'll bring in not only the return and create the return for you, it'll bring in your message history with the customer too. So if you've been talking on the channel, Back Market's got a portal for talking to your customers. Wholesale will import that message history so you can see right there what the status of the returns is. So I think that's really powerful as well. So you get the label gets brought into Wholesale and the message history, and not only that, we validate the IMEIs on these orders. So if you've got a wholesaler, for example, that is saying they want to send back 20 IMEIs, when you add those IMEIs to the return from that wholesaler or B2B customer, Wholesale is going to validate whether or not you actually sold those IMEIs to that customer. So this is a very, very simple tool for your team to know, did we actually sell those phones to that customer? Are they being forthright about this? Or are they trying to return IMEIs? Are they not organized? And are they trying to return IMEIs that they never actually bought from us? So this is a way to curb that problem right from the get-go, and to see, no, they're either they're valid or they're not. And then that prompts the conversation with the customer, obviously. So tracking customer returns, Wholesale has a module built out just for that, and it makes things very, very straightforward. So you keep track of all these returns, validate the IMEIs, and then your returns team has a place to go when when packages are coming back. They can say, okay, we go to Wholesale, we look at the returns that are supposed to be incoming, and we process them from there. Then we test the inventory again, release it back into available inventory. If it's all good, we resell it just like we did before. If it's not all good, then we've got to update the product. Again, product updates are really simple to do in Wholesale. That puts the product in a different SKU, and it keeps it from being resold on a listing, maybe the same listing it was before. Because if it's damaged, if the customer was returning something because it was damaged, now it goes into a different SKU where maybe you have a different kind of listing for it. Maybe you'll sell it B2B or on a different channel. So that kind of redirects the flow of that inventory to help you out. So those are our returns. And then business insights and analytics. It's one of my favorite things to work on with Wholesale customers. Is our analytics tools let you see, the high level perspective of your business, tracking the gross revenue, profit, and margin kind of passively. So, you really, if you've got an accountant that you're working with and working with a QuickBooks subscription, basically, you really have to dig in and learn how to read the reports from these accounting tools. And they're complicated. They take a while to learn, but I think most business owners understand the basic concepts of revenue, profit, and margin. And so these are like the neural system of your business. And so you want to be able to very quickly see from just an inventory perspective, forget the rent that you're paying, the employee salaries that you're paying for a moment. You want to see those things in QuickBooks, but at a very, very kind of introspective level, you want to see how much money are we making on iPhone 11s this quarter? How much money have we made on iPhone 14s in the last year? That's a really important problem for you to worry about. How much money are we making on the products we buy from this vendor, specifically that vendor? How is that vendor performing compared to the other vendors that we buy from? If you're a B2B seller, how are our sales to these B2B customers? Who is the most profitable B2B customer that we have? So Wholesale gives you a leaderboard and a graph of these different metrics to show you, to help you make better decisions, basically, over whatever time frame. So this is the kind of thing that we see people that say that Excel is working fine for them or Google Sheets is working fine for them. But to really get this kind of data from Google Sheets, you have to do a lot of work. You have to build analytics pages in Google Sheets. You have to run huge macros. If any of the data is messed up, or you use the word iPhone in two different ways, all of a sudden the data is very, very hard to curate. However, in Wholesale, as you're going through and running your business as usual and managing your inventory in this system, it is passively collecting all this data and showing it to you in a business insights type portal, which is our analytics tool. So we see, especially our larger sellers, but actually even our low volume sellers, get a lot of value out of this tool because it shows them the growth of their business over time, and it lets them kind of hone in on making better decisions about who they're buying from, who they're selling to, what they're buying, and where they're selling it, what channels they're selling it on. So you have this kind of comparative analytics to see, am I making the right choices? Should I experiment in different ways? So you can also, we've got a tool called Inventory Reports, so you can make serialized inventory reports from a management perspective in your business as well, that can be very powerful. So as of this year, we have a full open API that allows you, if you're a software developer or if you have custom software that you've already built in your business, you can connect to that software using our API. So you can connect to buyback, trade-in software, custom processing or warehouse tools, custom reporting for, maybe you're R2 certified, you need a specific type of report, then you can generate that using the details and information from our API, or separate e-commerce connections. So we have endpoints in our API built for you to connect to whatever e-commerce channels you're selling on. And you have the ability, as long as you've got someone that is capable of plugging into an API, Wholesale has an API that you can use. So that's been very popular with our larger resellers. And then pricing. If you're coming at wholesale either as a low volume or a high volume seller, I think that it really the pricing is incredibly competitive. We'll let you go out in the marketplace and determine this for yourself. But we have pricing ranging from $49 a month up to $499 a month, and we cap it at that $499. $499 is our unlimited plan, unlimited user accounts, unlimited inventory, unlimited integrations. You've got unlimited access to the software, which is pretty unique. If you're coming from a place of having built your own custom software in the past, you understand how expensive it can be. We've encountered customers who have spent over $100,000 on software before, but when you spend that kind of money, you still have to maintain the software. So you still have maybe a software developer on staff that is building the features that you need. It can be thousands and thousands of dollars each month, and it can be an upfront cost of $100,000. At $500 a month, you're basically spending $6,000 a year on wholesale, and you could use it for how many years is that? That's like 18 years, 17 years or something like that for $100,000. So my point is, we think that this, especially as we're adding more and more e-commerce features, we see other e-commerce software out of the marketplace that is very expensive, thousands of dollars a month. And wholesale is $499. We provide unlimited customer service and onboarding because we serve a very niche industry of these of customers like yourselves who are buying and selling used devices. So if you're interested in wholesale, we think that it's a very competitive option. And if you've got a unique type of business, we also are open to talking to customers about price and working with their budget and seeing where does wholesale add value for you. Maybe you're not going to use the e-commerce features we have and you just want the wholesale features. So please reach out to us and talk to us about that. We'd love to chat with you about what fits for your business and what doesn't. I've mostly been talking about high volume resellers. If you're a smaller reseller, $49 a month or $129 a month. I should have mentioned also, these plans are based on how many devices you are processing a month. So at $49, you get an allowance of 100 devices incoming to wholesale, serialized items that you're adding to wholesale, and then everyone above that 100, you're paying 49 cents. On the Grow plan at $129, you have an allowance of 400 serialized items incoming that once you add 400 in a month, if you start going over, you're paying 33 cents. And then our business plan is 1,000 items. Once you go over that, you start paying 25 cents an item. And then the unlimited plan is unlimited. So we've kind of built these based on how many items you're adding per month. Kind of signifies to us how large of a business you are, how many employees you probably have, what your revenue is like, and where this software, in terms of the value that it adds, might fit. If you're doing less than 100 devices a month, you will probably have a very high margin on those devices. I would bet that $49 is you selling one device. So it's basically 1% of your total income across those 100 devices. And let me, I guess if I'm biased here, certainly, but the power of using a system like this from the get-go and building it into your process and kind of ingraining it in your business from the start is that as you grow, you don't have to go searching for another solution. You don't have to rip out the old solution, build in the new one. You just start with this and you grow with it. So we really think that at the lower tier, if you're a phone flipper and you're looking for a better way than spreadsheets to keep track and just focus on getting more phones, these prices should be you should be able to offset them with one or two devices sold, and that should be very, very straightforward for you. So that's our pricing on wholesale. Again, if you've got any questions or you want to use wholesale in a unique way that doesn't seem to be how we've advertised it, reach out to us. We're flexible about this. We're a small business ourselves, and we love working with other customers that are kind of in the same position. So that's our pricing. Any questions? This is we haven't gotten any questions throughout the webinar today, so I think I'll open it up now. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat. I will read them. But if not, I'll send us off to a nice weekend, and we'll post this webinar as well. Maybe you're watching a recording of it. We'll post this on our YouTube channel for folks to watch after the fact, and we'll be doing more webinars like this. We do one just about every week, and we do them about different things. Sometimes we do them about This is my first time doing one kind of about the demo that we give to new customers, describing all these features. If we've got a new feature we're launching, I will walk through that feature and show how it works. So that's that. No questions so far. So thanks everybody for joining today. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Brennan, one of the co-founders at WholeCell. And if you've got any questions at all, reach out to us. Our contact information is on our site. You can sign up for a trial at WholeCell.io, and we hope to chat with you soon. Have a great weekend. Take care.